Good
evening, Rabbi. I want to tell you something interesting about Hanukkah. You know that the whole question arises, what did the Greeks really want from the Jewish people? You know, why do they afflict us? Why did they make this galut on us, the Greek people? The truth is, you know, they were not looking to exile the Jewish people from their land, you know, to throw them out, like the Romans did, like the Babylonians did. They were not looking to do that. They wanted to keep them in Eretz Israel. They were not interested in throwing them out or destroying them or exterminating them, you know, like Hitler, you know, like Haman and Makshamo. No, this wasn't the thing. They were not interested in that. So what was the whole idea of the Greek galut? What was the whole thing, you know? What did they want from us? So you know what they wanted, right? The truth is, as it says in the Midrash, you know, that they said to the Jewish people, take a shore, right? Ox, you know, and right on the Keren, on the horn of the ox, we have no portion in the God of Israel, right? That's what they said, you know. You have no portion in the God of Israel. So this is what they wanted. They wanted to change our religion, you know, to nullify our religion. That we shouldn't study Torah, that we shouldn't want Torah, we shouldn't want mitzvot. This is what they wanted, you know. They want us to make us Hellenized, like Greek culture, you know. It's called Tarbut Yavan. This is what they wanted to do. They wanted to change the Jewish people to make them like the Goyim. This is what they wanted to do, you know. So this is the reason why. What do? They started to build in Eretz Israel, you know, gymnasiums, you know, to make sports over there, filkustura, right? And also you know, games, all kinds of games, Olympics. Who made the Olympics? The Fiskultura, right? I'm sorry, Fiskultura. Yeah, who made these the Olympics? The Greeks made. Right? This is the Greek thing, you know. So they wanted to bring the Jewish people to do sports, you know, to do things like this, more like, you know, Goyish activities. They wanted us to study philosophy like they do, you know. Who made philosophy? The Greeks made philosophy, philosophia, right? They made also this. They made all these things. So you know what philosophy says, right? Not like our religion. It's different. What is philosophy? Anything you can't prove, you know, in nature, if you can't prove it, it doesn't exist, you know. So if you can't see God, you can't see, you know, you don't see where He is. There is no God. There's nothing, you know. That's what they're telling you. You understand? Whatever you see, whatever you can prove, it exists. Whatever you can't see, you can't prove it, you can't detect it, it doesn't exist for you. There's no such a thing like that. This is philosophy, you know. So this is the logic that they had. They wanted to change the Jewish people to make them like that, you know. So the truth is that we have to understand that this was the war between us and them, you know. It was the war between Emunah and Hashem in the Torah, and with them, you know, it was to be like a goy, you know, sports, fiskultura, you know, Olympics, right? The philosophy, studying university, right? Also, universita, you know? Who made universities? Also the Greeks. The Greeks made all these things, you know? So today, we have also this Greek culture, you know, Tarbut Yavan, in our society, you know? We have university, we have, we have sports, we have Olympics, right? We have all these things today, all like the Greeks made. This is where all the Greek things, so you see from there, by the way, what do you see? That a Jew really shouldn't get too much involved with these things, you know what I mean? Fiskultura, sports, you know, this, and philosophy, studying philosophy, and, you know, doing Tarbut Yavan, like going to these sports games, you know, Mondial, right? Today, right? Now they're playing the Mondial. Oh, who's going to win? This country, that country, right? This is all Tarbut Yavan. This is what it is, you know? So a person has to understand that this is what we have to avoid. That's why the Chazal told us, where is this written? It's written in Masechet Avodah Zarah. It says over there that a person should not go to these games, you know, to see all these stadiums, you know, to see baseball and football and soccer, you know, and football and this, all kinds of things. You shouldn't go to see these things. Why? Because this is Tarbut Yavan. You know what they call this, right? They call this in the Talmud. They call it Moshav Letzim. You know what I mean? Moshav Letzim. You're wasting your time doing something which is not productive. No productivity there. You know. So what should you be doing instead of doing all this nonsense? You know, sports and this and Mondial and World Cup and this Super Bowl and World Series and all these kinds of. What should you be doing? You should be learning Torah. You know, doing mitzvot. That's what you should be doing. Not waste your time on these things. So Tarbut Yavan is also today, you know, very strong. But you know, also by the way in Eretz Israel, you know, they have also Tarbut Yavan, soccer games, basketball, all these things are Tarbut Yavan. Wasting your time, right? You go to the game, 2-3 hours you waste over there, you know, doing nothing, just watching them, you know. Oh, well, this one hit this one hit that one, and this kind of thing. What difference does it make to you? They're playing around with one ball, kicking one ball, one place to the other. What does it interest you? Who kicked the ball over here? Who kicked the ball over there? What difference does it make to you? This is what Kadosh Baruch Hu created the world for Fiskultura, for sports? No, He created the world for Torah. The only reason why He created the world is to learn Torah. This is the reason why Kadosh Baruch Hu created the world. There's no other reason why. He would, if it wasn't for that, Im lo briti oman balayla, chukot hashamayim ba'aretz lo samti. You know what that means? If it wasn't for the Torah, Hashem says, I wouldn't create the world. There's no other reason for the world. So this is the whole thing, the battle between the Greeks and the Jewish people. This is the battle, between Tarbut Yavan and the Dat Torah. The Torah is on one side, Tarbut Yavan is on the other side. One against the other, we're always competing, one with the other. It says, by the way, the Ibn Ezra, something interesting, that after Yavan, right, Yavan was the third Galut. Okay? And the fourth Galut was what? Romi, right? The Roman Galut. Okay? So here's the thing, right? That it says the Ibn Ezra that really the Roman Galut was a extension of the Tarbut Yavan. It was really a continuation of the Galut of Yavan. It's like one culture, The Romans also took all the culture of the Greeks. Even though they defeated them in the war, they had a lot of wars between them, It says in the Gemara, Masechet Ozah. There was many wars between the Greeks and the Romans. In the end, the Romans won and beat them. They destroyed the Greeks, but they took the tarbut from them, the culture they took, and they took it also for themselves. They adopted it. So therefore, today we also have, tarbut Yavan everywhere you look, right? Everywhere you go, tarbut Yavan. Also in Eretz Israel, unfortunately, this is what it is, So we have it everywhere. So we have to fight against that. That's the whole thing, The Jewish people shouldn't waste their time, with these nonsense, all kinds of games and this and that. What does it do for you? But there is one good thing, even from tarbut Yavan, one good thing to learn. Even though it's really bad, but for us, there's one mitzvah that we can learn from that. You know what it is? To keep your body in shape. To be healthy, to exercise. They say the Chazal, by the way. It says in the book in the Mesilat Ramchal writes in Mesilat Yesharim or the Derech Hashem, one of those two books. He writes over there that it's also a mitzvah to do exercise. For every Jew. Why? To keep your body in shape so you can serve Hashem properly. So you should do something, then exercise every day. So if you do that, right, you do play basketball or you play some soccer, 15 minutes a day, half hour a day to stay in shape. This is good. It's a mitzvah because you're keeping your body in shape. This is a mitzvah. So therefore, that you can do. But to go watch them, and they're playing and you're sitting and watching them, eating hot dogs, and popcorn. What does it help you? What does it do for you? Nothing. It's a waste of time. You're wasting your time with that. What does it give you? That doesn't give you anything. So therefore, a person has to be careful about that. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Chanukah, halachot of Chanukah, right? Also, another interesting thing is that we have also on Chanukah, as we said, right, we say every day Hallel, but we don't say what? We don't say Mussaf. No Mussaf on Chanukah, right? Why is that, by the way? Why no Mussaf? Every other holiday, has Mussaf. Pesach, right? Shavuot, right? Sukkot, right? Rosh Chodesh, right? Why not Chanukah? What's the reason why there's no Mussaf on Chanukah? You know why? Very simple. Because the tefillah of Mussaf only comes when there's Korban Mussaf in the Beit HaMikdash. When there was Korban Mussaf. So if there was Korban Mussaf in the Beit HaMikdash, the tefillah comes in the place of the Korban. Because today we don't have Korban. Understand? So it comes in place of that. But here, right, for Chanukah, there was no Korban Mussaf. You know why? Because the Korban Mussaf is from the Torah. This is Chanukah is the Rabbanan, it's from the rabbis. So the rabbis couldn't make extra Mussaf. They don't have the power to do that. The rabbis do have power to add extra mitzvot. Like to light the candles, right? They made an extra mitzvah to light the candles. This is from the rabbis on Chanukah to light the candles. But they cannot make a Korban Mussaf extra one. They're not allowed to do that. You know why? What's the reason why? The reason is because, I'm sorry?
Temple destroyed and it can't do it.
Right, but even if, let's say you have a temple, right? They still cannot make it. They can't do it. In the time of Chanukah, there was a temple, but they could not make a Korban Mussaf extra. You know what the reason is why? Because according to the Torah, that animal that you bring there is considered to be chulin. It's chol, it's not kadosh, because from the Torah, there's no kedusha. You can't make it, so therefore, the rabbis have no power to bring an extra Korban Mussaf. Because according to the Torah, this is chol. If you bring an animal which is chol, right, mundane animal, chulin, into the Beit HaMikdash, chayav karet, you're transgressing, right, one of the biggest prohibitions of the Torah. So you have to be careful about that. You can't do that, so therefore there was no way for them. So this is the reason why we don't have Tfilat Mussaf also in Chanukah, because there's no Korban Mussaf, because the holiday is only Dirabanan. This is the reason why. So therefore we don't have that, Baruch Hashem. Okay, whatever, right? Hashem gives us whatever He wants to give us. We should be happy for everything. Another thing I want to tell you, before we stop, is regarding the women, right? They say that there's a custom like this, that in Chanukah, the women shouldn't do melacha, they shouldn't do work, Some say a little bit too far. You know what they say? All Hanukkahs, 8 days, the women shouldn't do any melacha, right? So who's going to take care of the house? Who's going to do the dishes? Who's going to do the laundry? Right? Who's going to take care of the children? Who's going to cook? Right? If they can't do melacha, so this is going too far. This is a little bit crazy. That's not the proper minhag. So what is the proper minhag? They say at least, that what? That doing when the candles are lit, for that half hour, as we said, right? The mitzvah is half hour to light the candles. After that, it's not really a mitzvah anymore. So that half hour, the candles are being lit, they should not do any melacha, the women, because the minhag is like this, It's a hag for the women, the Chanukah, so therefore they shouldn't do any melacha. So what does that mean, practically speaking, right? Let's say, for instance, during when the candles are lit, the husband lit the candles, right? And now the wife wants to do some laundry, So, she needs to press the button, right, of the laundry machine, right, to start it, So what should you do? Tell your child, right? Tell the kid, you press the button. The woman shouldn't press the button because she cannot do melachat during the time where the candles are burning, So therefore, tell the son, to press the button, and this way she'll be okay, So she shouldn't do melachat during the time the candles are burning. This is the custom that we have regarding the ladies. But in terms of just going to work and things like this, a lot of women today are working. So you can't tell them, listen, don't work for 8 days, take off, who's going to give you 8 days not to work? No such a thing like that, right? That's going too far. So that's the difference between the good minhag and the exaggerated minhag. Okay, Baruch Hashem. So what else should I tell you, right? Also, I wanted to remind you one more thing, that tonight is the last night for Birkat HaLevana. So if you forgot to do Birkat HaLevana, tonight is your last chance. I think it's clear tonight, so you can do, So whoever didn't do, after Avik, you go out and Birkat HaLevana. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen.